at the end.
Yeah.
If I could give one overarching message, as I'm sure we're wrapping up here, it's that I have to realize what I am willing to tolerate. And if I tolerate mediocrity and poor performance and people coming in late and all these other things, that sends a message out to the whole shop that, hey, Andrew's okay with all that. No problem.
Right.
I could show up 15 minutes late. I could take a longer lunch and now I clock back in on time, and I could do a poor job on my work and probably it'll be okay. And that sets the tone for if Andrew holds the line and that's him, I better hold the line too, because that's what's being expected of me. And that is very, very hard. I struggled with that in the beginning. It's not easy because there's days where your heart may not be in it, but you still got to hold that line. Otherwise, all these wonderful processes and quality and all these other things, they will fall apart as quickly as possible, because human nature will always be to look for the easiest route possible.
Right. There are three pieces to that, Robert, that you speak on, right?
There are. There's these whole connected chain of events that explain the functionality of our business. And we call that the business revenue stream. And you see all of these things link up to the thing before and after it to form this flowing stream. And if you don't remove the blockages in any stream, then obviously it's going to back up behind that.
Right.
And all of a sudden in Body Shop, you find this $1 million opportunity at the top. It becomes this sort of $100,000 headache at the end of the pipeline because of all the blockages. Now, there are some six distinctly different things that the stars do that what we call the hamsters don't do. And what we're going to do today, Mickey, is talk about what those differences are. What have the stars started doing that the hamsters don't do? And what is it the stars have stopped doing, more importantly, that the hamsters are still doing?
Great point. I love that. Okay, so share with us one of those. Let's kick us off here.
Okay, so you see, this is all about the fact that money follows energy. So what you need to do is focus your energy in the right areas. And it's understanding the difference, Mickey, between working in context and working in content. As you said earlier, you want to get more fish on your line if you're fishing in the pool.
Right.
But just fishing for longer hours isn't going to make any difference if you're using the wrong bait.
True.
So what is it, again, that you can do to work in context? So when we talk about our business revenue stream, we talk about the very source of that stream being your culture, your vision, and your intent as a business. That is where the stream starts to flow. And then underneath that, of course, we have the next steps that make all the difference. They are your product, your positioning, and your channels, your routes to your A-grade customer marketplace. And it is that sets the stars apart from the hamsters, because you see, those things are all about growth and where tomorrow's profit's going to come from. Whereas the hamsters are caught in this trap of revenue. They're all about things like sales, getting the referral, the notification, raising an estimate, getting authority. They're all about the Body Shop operation to repair the car and then delivering that car back to the customer. And of course, regardless of what business you are and where you are, there's always this bunch of other stuff behind: the admin, the emails, the meetings, the phone calls, all the stuff you don't get paid for.
Right.
Because this is a huge part of the Body Shop's business, Mickey. You know, when they raise an estimate to repair a car, no one's paying them for all this other stuff.
Right.
They're paying them for the technician's hours on the car to repair it.
Right.
All the other things that need doing, no one pays you for that.
Good point.
So if you find a way to minimize that, maximize your revenue, and attract more A-grade customers into your business, you're going to get more fish on your line than the guy next door.
True. I love that. So you talked about product as the first one. So wouldn't the product be the same for everybody?
Well, this is, again, one of the common myths, Mickey. Everyone has this misconception, apart from the stars, that our product is accident repair, collision repair, and it's not. And this is the damaging power of, so what? My insurance company sent me to you. They said you were good. You've repaired my car, okay? So what? So what we do with standards and extras is we use a specific framework, which anyone's listening to this can draw up as they're listening. So if you imagine a noughts and crosses board, 2 vertical lines, 2 horizontal lines. In the left-hand middle one, if you put the word do in there, and then underneath in the bottom left-hand corner, don't do, And then the middle box at the top, put standards, and the top right-hand box, extras. Now, it's important to understand, Mickey, the difference between what that standards column looks like and what the extras column looks like. So if you do all the standard things that they expect, so what? Insurance companies don't see you. You said you were good on your website. You've repaired my car okay, delivered it back on time. So what? Nothing's wrong, but so what?
Right.
It's a neutral on the impact on the relationship.
Yes.
If you don't do any of those standard expectations, though, it's clearly a negative on the relationship straight away.
Yes.
So in that standards column, it's just a matter of time before you drop the ball, isn't it? We always get sickness, parts delays, back orders, whatever the issue is that we manage. And as soon as that happens, that customer has gone below, so what, to a negative position. Whereas if you look at the extras column on the right-hand side, if you do extras being things that they don't know you did, they didn't ask for, they didn't expect, it's clearly a huge positive in the relationship. Whereas if you don't do the extras in the bottom right-hand corner, it's still negative. It's still neutral, pardon. It's not negative.
Right.
You know, they didn't know you did it. They didn't expect it. They didn't ask for it. And you didn't do it. So they don't even.
Right.
So there are no positives in doing the standard things and no negatives in building extras into your customer journey. And that is where all the opportunity is. Think about it, Mickey, in your life. Let's just take you as an example. When was the last time you were buying something in a shop or a store somewhere where somebody did something extra for you that you didn't ask for, you didn't expect, was probably no benefit to them, it was purely out of extra bit of service?
Oh, I love it.
Pardon?
I loved it. It was great.
I mean, you love it. It feels great. You feel really special, don't you?
Yes.
And they tell you once. How many people do you tell afterwards? Tens, thousands.
Right.
Especially someone like yourself. So it's important to understand that if you build these extras into the customer journey that are sustainable and repeatable things, you create this new value product for the customer. And they pay you back by going back outside of your business and telling all of their friends and family about that.
Yes.
And over a period of time, you build this unpaid sales force of ambassadors for your business, telling other A-grade customers what a great product you have. And guess what? None of that is about actually repairing the car.
What do you feel like for all the people that are going to come see you? Because obviously everybody wants to come see Mikey Anderson and hear what he's got to say. If there was something that they were going to come and take away, come with and take away, what would that thing be in your session today? You probably have a few, but if you could think of like your tops.
So, first of all, again, thank you so much. And just really a shout out to the Texas Auto Body Association here. Jill Tuggle is amazing. What she put together. I think I want to say that one of the vendors told me yesterday, I think that they had tracked like over 600 or 700 people had actually been through their booth. So
wow.
Turnout, and just shout out to Jill and just everybody with the Texas Auto Body Association. And again, thanks for having me. So
yes.
Mickey, as I shared with you previously, is that every year I pick a theme.
Yes.
And this year my theme is be extraordinary, right? Like we need to be extraordinary in so many things. But, what people don't often realize is that I'm updating that presentation sometimes daily, weekly. I had the honor to be on your podcast when I was at the Southeast Conference, which was hosted in Virginia this year.
Yeah.
And I've added a lot of things to it since then. But, you asked me, like, what are my couple things? So the first is, since we last talked, I had the opportunity to listen to a gentleman by the name of Kevin Brown speak. Kevin Brown wrote a book called The Hero Effect. And one of the things that Kevin Brown said was that nobody notices normal. Let's just let that sink in. I don't drink wine, but I see people sometimes just like let that, whatever that is, you wine drinkers do, right?
Yes,
so
yes.
Just let that simmer there, right? Or sit for a little bit, right? But nobody notices normal. So if nobody notices normal, we have to be extraordinary or extraordinary, right?
Yes.
We look at the root of the word extraordinary, it's extra, extraordinary. And so as I started hearing that, I was like, okay, man, you know what? We're on the right message for collision repairs this year. They have to be extraordinary or extraordinary. Nobody knows it's normal. And then I had the opportunity to go with a friend of mine recently to a Lexus dealership to get their car serviced.
Okay.
So check this out, right? So we go into this Lexus dealership, and I know your collision repair shops, just stay with me for a minute, okay? And this Lexus dealership service department had one of the Hunter, I call them a speed bump, like where it's a Hunter piece of equipment, like a Hunter alignment machine, but it's like a little speed bump. You drive your car over it, and it actually takes all of your alignment measurements and looks at your tires. And what it does, it tells you very quickly in a matter of seconds, if your tires have any wear on them, if you need tires, or like what your alignment specs look like. So it's an amazing piece of equipment. But anyway, this story. So this friend of mine is walking into a Lexus dealership, and they asked me to follow them there to drop their car off and give them a ride home. And I said, sure. So, I noticed they go across the little speed bump thing, and I go and park, and I'm like, I want to walk in with them to the dealership. And I walk in, and the person at the service counter at the Lexus dealer walks up and says, here, Mr. Thompson, here's your favorite, I don't know what it was, hot chocolate or latte or whatever it was from Starbucks.
Wow.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What's this for? And I asked the person at the service drive, I said, look, I'm in the auto body business. And I said, what is this all about? And he goes, well, Mr. Thompson's been here before. He's been here with his Lexus before. And so we know what his favorite Starbucks drink was. And I was like, well, how did you know that he was coming here? They said when his car drives over that little speed bump and takes his alignment specs, it automatically says, hey, this is Mr. Thompson's Lexus based on his license plate number. It sends his order into their local, and there's Starbucks that's in the Lexus dealership. And right there when he's walking in, but would you agree that's an amazing experience?
Yeah. Amazing.
But here's the deal, right? So you got to remember, somebody goes to a Lexus dealership or any other type of industry, and they have an experience like that. They're looking for something similar with us, like an extraordinary experience. But let me take this a step further, right? What I realized was that was a personalized experience.
Very much.
What my friend Greg Thompson experienced, it was a personalized experience because it was his favorite drink based on what he liked, right?
Right.
We had the opportunity to attend the Lexus conference for all the dealerships, and they had a great message there, Nikki. And this is what I guess my message would be for your listeners today. And what they said at the Lexus conference was this: know me, know my car. Know me, KNOW. Know me, comma, know my car.
Yes.
I believe that we need to get to know people first and build a relationship with them first before we start to speak about their vehicle, right?
Totally. Now, I know you guys talked about, and I want to be mindful of time, but this is so good. And I know people are loving it. I'm loving it. I'm sure there are the hot topic questions, like the biggest issues that shops are facing. Do you mind getting into another one of those besides this one that we just finished talking about?
I'll kick that off. So above and beyond, we all know of the technician shortages. Okay, that's not anything new. That's been here a long time. It's just that I think most folks are starting to see it. Folks like Ron and I, we saw that 10, 15 years ago and started to build our own tech. So now we don't traditionally ever hire an experienced technician. We grow our own, just because then that way that they only know one way of doing things.
Right.
But above and beyond that, the main things that we see is the massive amount of training that we have to go through, which is a great thing up until the point when you're facing technician shortages and you have some technicians that are gone 6 to 12 weeks a year. Excluding vacations and time off, and these are traditionally your more advanced technicians. So not only are you missing what they produce, but they also produce part sales, they produce the material sales, they produce paint sales, they produce a litany of things that you're not getting in that time frame, and these are your most productive people. So I'll start it off with my point on the massive amount of training that we have to do, we need to do, but there is an inherent cost above and beyond the monetary side. There is an inherent cost that comes along with that. There's a much larger benefit, but you have to realize that. And I think if you and your organization have a culture of learning where that is the goal, where you want to do it rather than you have to do it, I think you can manage that well. But from my aspect, that's a huge one.
Right.
It is. And, as we bring in, and similar to Barry's organization, when we bring in an entry level person, we talk about, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because we as an organization don't want to hire people that don't want to have a career path.
Right.
And we're going to demonstrate that within our organization, you have a lot of opportunities in that career path. You might decide to go into repair planning. You might be in parts procurement. You may you want to be an electronic diagnostic technician and do calibrations. You may want to do mechanical and suspension and alignment work or air conditioning. You may get into structural work on the collision side, or you may want to go into refinishing. You may even want to be part of logistics and drive tow truck or things like that. So, or customer service rep. If you are an outgoing people type person, that you have that particular part of your personality that you like to help people, then the customer service rep job. So pre-qualifying it, we as owners and managers have to look at ourselves as coaches. And I think what happens a lot is somebody comes in and says, I aspire to be this. And we as coaches say, well, maybe, you want to hike the ball, but really I think you do better at catching the ball. So I think it's our responsibility to tap them on the shoulder and say, I've noticed in the last few weeks, you really are very, very good at the computer. You're a great numbers person. I think maybe you ought to try working in our parts department. And sometimes they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
But back to Barry's point, people that have already worked in the industry at 10 other shops, they bring so many bad habits and so much baggage that by the time you try to undo that, the effort's not worth it.
Yeah, it's interesting you guys talk about this. I recently have been talking with a lot of shops about finding writers, finding techs, whatnot. And everybody, literally every single shop, and it's at least a dozen at this point, that I've had recent conversations with, they're looking for plug and go. They use the term. It's like almost all of them are like, Nikki, I need somebody that's just plug and go. And I'm like, do you not have people that are working up through the system? So it's really interesting to hear that you both have developed a culture, because I really think it's a culture of training up your people. Yeah. So for shops that are looking for the plug and go person, like you said, they bring with them a whole lot of issues. And I think that's part of the reason why there's constant cycling of these people through the shop, is they don't have the full buy-in. They don't really, they're not doing it the way that your shop does it. And they're having a hard time, it's like a square peg into a round hole. So where do you start for a shop that's like, I like the idea, where do I begin?
You have to understand that you have to market to your people internally. We look at saying, well, I'm going to market outside my business. I'm going to, put T-shirts on the kids' softball team, and I'm going to go to the chamber meetings, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. That's all important. But what are you doing internally? If you're willing to pay a headhunter $1,000 or $2,000 to find you an employee, what's it worth to keep the one you have?
Right.
So what are you doing for a benefit package? Are you matching the 401k? Are you getting creative with maybe a 4-day work week or flexible hours for certain people? There's people that are morning people, and there's people that aren't morning people. So are you flexible with their hours? Maybe they have young children, and it's a 2-parent household, and one person goes to work early and one person goes to work late. So, building that culture, and Barry talked about that, it's important. Our employees spend more time with each other than they do at home.
Right.
And if you really want to, we have people that come to us out of, say, a dealership situation where there is no culture. And they will actually come to us knowing that at the level that we have to bring them in, they're taking a cut in pay. They're willing to do that because we've explained that there is a career path, and there's that culture. Barry and I are both on the shop floor every day. We are out there engaging with our people. How did your son do last night at soccer? How did your daughter do on the swim team? Know your people.
Right.
this is our business. It's not my business. And make sure that you're embedded in that you got full buy-in. And that's a big part of it. There's a reason why happy hour is still popular. You got all the social media, events all the time, but Friday night at the local's watering hole, it's full of people. Why? Because they're social animals.
Right.
But they still need that interaction. Twitter and all these other things. We're creating a society of moles, but people they have an appetite, for that social interaction. And we can be a big part of that, but you have to recognize it.
Yeah.
But it all starts with me at the end. If I could give one overarching message, as I'm sure we're wrapping up here, it's that I have to realize what I am willing to tolerate. And if I tolerate mediocrity and poor performance and people coming in late and all these other things, that sends a message out to the whole shop that, hey, Andrew's okay with all that. No problem.
Right.
I could show up 15 minutes late. I could take a longer lunch and now I clock back in on time, and I could do a poor job on my work, and probably it'll be okay. And that sets the tone for, if Andrew holds the line and that's him, I better hold the line too, because that's what's being expected of me. And that is very, very hard. I struggled with that in the beginning. It's not easy because there's days where your heart may not be in it, but you still got to hold that line. Otherwise, all these wonderful processes and quality and all these other things, they will fall apart as quickly as possible, because human nature will always be to look for the easiest route possible.
Right.
To get it to a point where it's good enough for me. And that may not be good enough for our customers.
Right. Yeah, that's powerful. You had a little mic drop moment right there. That was good.
I'm tired of being the only guy doing this. At the end of the day, I don't like that. And I'm tired of being in conferences and events with other managers where they're like, this is not possible. This can't be done. Yes, it can. You got to want it bad enough first. And you got to take a hard look at yourself. If you're willing to do the work and you care about your people, you can get there and achieve these same things that I did. I'm not a rocket scientist. I love what I do, but at the same time, I have to be honest with myself about what I expect from everyone and what I will tolerate at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Lead by example, right?
Yeah.
What do they say? Actions or lessons are caught, not taught.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And I always thought that's an interesting thing to say. And then I had children and I was like, oh yeah, for real.
Clearly true.
It's all about leading by example. Well, I appreciate you, Andrew, coming back on. Congratulations again. What an amazing feat that was. Yeah. And I hope that you can win it next year, second time in a row. Is that the goal now for everybody?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like I said, I'm honored that we won, but I want others to carry the torch that I've carried. I want them to carry it as well. I hope people can see that it's your path. Something got you into this industry, and if you got into a managerial position, that meant you got there for some reason. You don't just generally land that by accident, right?
Right.
Something carried you to get you to that point. The people deserve your best at the end of the day. And I, even though yes, it'd be great to win again, I hope I inspire others to do the same thing. Because I don't mind having another plaque in my lobby. That would be great. But at the same time, it's not just about me. It's to prove that you can do this too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's what makes you so special, Andrew. It's not all about, me and yourself and the accolades.
That's really and I was blessed to have very good mentors that inspired this whole thought process in me, and I've carried it forward. And I feel the industry is at a very crucial turning point that hopefully this stuff can start to take off and make it an attractive industry for people to want to come into.
Yeah. 100%.